Hey guys, how you going? Today we're going to chat about Believathon and the books that I read during the 2 weeks of Believathon. I have lots of birds chirping, so we'll see how we go. I have notes because I can't remember. Okay, so here's what I did. I will pop pictures up and perhaps the location that I did them for the map. So the first stop is the Poacher's Pocket. I remember that part. Starfell, Willow Moss and the Lost Day. So that one was about Willow Moss, who has magic ability to find things, and the greatest witch, she comes to Willow's doorstep to help her find Tuesday because they've lost Tuesday. So they go on a bit of an adventure, and along the way I found that Willow's confidence grew a lot. She began to understand her magic and appreciate being able to find things. I think she kind of grew into herself, and it was really cute to see. I loved how lovable the characters were. I think I completely fell in love with Oswin. He's the little cat. Well, he's not little. He's like, no, he's not a cat. Wow, must not say he's a cat. He's a monster that lives under the bed, and honestly I would love to have a little Oswin living under the bed. He was so adorable. His sense of humour, he just added to every scene. I really, really loved him. The way that she used friendship to help, it was like friendship was the magical part of, like, that's what the magic was. It was her friendship and her ability to make others, not make them love her, but see the best in all of the characters that she was running into, that she met along the way, and they were more than happy to help her because they could see how gorgeous she was and they just wanted to help her. Anyway, so I would say that that is a really great read for an 8 to 12-year-old. Some of the kids might need some help understanding some of the meanings of the words, so you would want to be there just in case to answer some questions. If I was to base it on movie ratings, I would go with a G or a PG, just there for the meanings. There was no violence, or there was no really scary moments. There might have been one with maybe there was a giant, where they were wanting to argue with them, have a bit of a fight with them, but they didn't. So I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it for my first spot. The next stop, I think, was The 100 Acre Wood. Can't quite remember. It was a book that you should have read ages ago. So for that one, I read Anne of Green Gables. Me and Anne. I didn't like the book when I was reading it. So my notes here say that it took me a long time to get into it, and for the first 99 pages I read in like a day or two, and then I put it down for about 9 days, I reckon, because Anne just wouldn't stop talking. My God, that girl. But then I did a readathon. No, it wasn't a readathon. It was just a read with me thing with Kaz from A Little Book Owl. So it was like a 12-hour live stream, and I just ducked in and out whenever I felt like it, when I wasn't doing washing or something, and read. And I read the rest of the book while on that. By the end of it, I really actually quite liked it. I came away thinking, no, I didn't like that book. But since then, I haven't stopped thinking about it. So Anne's growth over the book, while she still talks a lot, I really think she starts to understand her place in the world, and that she isn't going to become an orphan again. I think there's a lot of change in her. So I did take a lot of notes. So I think she learns, I'm just going to read what I wrote. Anne learns a lot from her mistakes. Her impulsiveness and enthusiasm lead her into scrapes of all kinds, but she usually means well and is quick, in most cases, to make amends, though she can also hold a grudge. She is smart, imaginative, independent, hardworking, and creative. I'd say she's an excellent role model for girls. Marilla and Matthew are loving caregivers and they parent Anne the best way they know how. The characters learn from their mistakes. Anne is always making mistakes, but she's always trying to improve herself, and I think that that is a great thing for kids to learn. My chooks are coming over. There's some, like, content warnings would only be some, like, for kids, is some mild flirting, and they talk about their beaux. And a teacher pays special attention to one of his teenage students, which was less scandalous in those days than it is these days. So yeah, in the end I gave Anne of Green Gables a 3 out of 5 stars, and I think that I would, like, it's a G to a PG rating on movies, and yes, there's movies about it, so you know. Oh, and it has a Lexile level of 990 in Australia, and it also has a quiz on it if you're in Australia and your kids are using Lexile levels at school. It's level 900 and they can do a quiz on it. Next up, I think it was The Yellow Brick Road. It was a book with yellow on the cover, and I chose The Language of Lost Spells. This book was adorable, man. I really liked it. I loved Grisha, the dragon. It was interesting that it took 50% of the book to actually get into it for anything really to happen. But I liked that. I liked getting the backstory of Grisha and how it was before all the dragons went missing, and just how just his life. I mean, basically it was 150 years lifespan, or not lifespan, time span before, I think it was 150 years, before he met up with Maggie. But yeah, I really enjoyed those 150 odd years. The thing that I quite enjoyed was that magic comes with sacrifice, and is it worth the sacrifice? It was really nice. I really enjoyed it. I gave that one 4 out of 5 stars. And I would rate that one PG. And I think it would be an easy read for 9 to 12-year-olds. Alright, up next was Orion Found, and I read Orion Lost. So, I don't particularly love sci-fi, but I really enjoyed this book. I am so grateful that it was the pick for middle grade monthly. Otherwise, I would never have picked that up. It would not have been my choice of book. So I loved the main character, Beth, her arc from the start of the story throughout. She starts off, it's like she's confident, but she's not. She doesn't realise that she's confident. She stands up for one of her friends right at the start, but kind of panics about it. Panics, is that the right word? But throughout the book, she really comes into her own and realises that she can do this. Like, obviously, something's gone wrong with the spaceship, so now it's a bunch of kids in control. I don't really know how to talk about it. Vahan went through the same. Oh, did he go through the same, or is he just an arrogant turd to start with, and then he mellowed out and realised that he's not awesome as he thought he was? I don't know. I just find this one really hard to talk about. I don't really know what to say. It's a weird one. So the space setting was cool, and I kept thinking about Guardians of the Galaxy 2 because I'd recently watched it. And if they jump too many times, it messes with their bodies. And honestly, every time they're like, okay, we need to jump. I'm like, dude, you can't jump so many times at once because it's gonna mess with your body. It's okay. It doesn't mess with their body. I mean, it does, but they're asleep. I gave that one a 4 out of 5 stars, and I would rate it a G. It wasn't on any of the Lexile levels that I could find. I think it's too new. And I think both of my kids would enjoy reading that book, so that's why I popped it into the 9 to 12 age group.
Alrighty, my last book was Starfell, Willow Moss and the Forgotten Tale. I really love that book too. I think Dominique Valente is awesome. I really, really enjoy her books, and I cannot wait for the third one to come out. So I think this one was a great way to end the journey. It wasn't quite as good as the first one, but damn, it was still up there. I thought it was a stellar book. I loved the characters kept reoccurring in the book. So the ones that you met in the first book, they were there again in this book. But it was explained. So if you hadn't read the first book, I think you could pick up this book and still get what was going on. I don't think that you need to read the first book to read the second book. Like I said for the first one, Oswin is such a wicked character. I love him. 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't quite as good as the first one, but it's still a 4 out of 5 stars. And the cover, you take off the dust cover, and oh my god, that hardcover was nuts. I love it. The illustrations are awesome in both books. I think that her illustrator, whom I can't remember right now, I'll put that somewhere on a screen, is perfecto. 9 to 12-year-olds would love this book, and anyone who's a little bit silly and loves magical things and all that stuff will love it. So with that, my friends, this is the end of my Believathon video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!